Welcome back to the deep dive. This is the place where we take all this research, these different sources, and we really try to boil them down into something useful, something you can actually act on. Our mission is always to help you understand things, not just quickly, but deeply. And today we're diving into a topic that is just so critical for anyone who wants to be truly fluent.
Yeah.
We're talking about how to transform your English from this abstract thing in your head into a real physical skill. We're going to explore how the real path to confidence is actually about training your mouth, not just your mind.
And a very warm welcome to everyone listening. It doesn't matter if you're in Istanbul or Sydney or Sao Paulo. We're so glad you're here with us. We want to start by just, creating a really calm space here because this topic, it brings up a lot of pressure for people. They think I have to study harder, I need to be faster. We want to get rid of that idea right away. What we're talking about today isn't some kind of high pressure class.
That's such an important point. Let's be really clear right from the start about what this deep dive isn't.
Right. It is definitely not a grammar class. So you can relax. You don't need to worry about verb tenses or memorizing vocabulary lists right now. We're kind of moving beyond the textbook. And it's also not about fast, high-pressure English. It's not about forcing you to speak before you've built the right foundation.
Instead, what we've unpacked is an approach that looks at fluency from a totally different angle.
Yeah.
A physical one, really. So we're inviting you to just slow down, take a breath, and really listen to the mechanics of confident speaking. Our research suggests the biggest barrier isn't intellectual at all. It's muscular.
Exactly. So just relax. Let go of that pressure. This is about changing how you think about your mouth and your body's role in speaking, which is something most of us never, ever consider.
Okay, so let's unpack this core issue, because if you're a learner, you've absolutely felt this. This moment of intense frustration. We hear it all the time. People say, I can read complex articles, I can watch TV shows, no subtitles, I understand everything.
The understanding is there,
Yeah.
100%.
But then the moment comes for them to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing. The brain just goes completely blank.
Completely blank. And it's a physical sensation, isn't it? The chest tightens, the words that you knew, 30 seconds ago.
They just evaporate. It's such a painful and it seems a really common experience.
It is. And the sources we looked at have a great name for it, the silent freeze. And it's not just, a metaphor. It is a real physical thing that happens in your body.
So it's not just feeling nervous.
No, not at all. The sources actually detail how it shows up physically. Your lips might literally tighten up, your tongue feels stiff, almost shaky, your throat kind of constricts, and your voice can get smaller or higher. It almost feels like it's disappearing. That feeling of panic isn't a lack of willpower. It's a symptom of a lack of physical training.
And that physical feeling, that panic, it leads to a really damaging conclusion, doesn't it? What's the story the learner tells themselves in that moment?
Oh, they fall right into that self-judgment trap. They think, I'm not smart enough, or I'm so lazy I should have studied more, or why can't I remember that simple word? And we really want to just, dismiss all of that right now.
So if it's not about intelligence, and it's not about laziness, what's the real cause, according to this material?
The root cause in so many of these cases is simply that the mouth is untrained.
Untrained.
Yeah, think about it. You've spent years training your brain, your memory, your grammar skills, your reading comprehension. That's all cognitive training. But you probably haven't spent any time training the actual physical muscles you need to produce English sounds in a fast, connected, rhythmic way.
And that distinction, cognitive versus physical training, that explains what you call the confidence paradox.
It's everything. You feel so confident when you're just consuming English, watching a video, reading something, because your brain is doing what it's trained to do. It feels easy. Right. But the second you have to switch from passive listening to active speaking, that's when the panic sets in. Because speaking isn't just a mental exercise. It's a physical motor skill that your body just hasn't learned yet.
So my mind knows the answer, but my mouth doesn't know the moves.
That's a perfect way to put it. Your mind has the blueprint, but your tongue, your jaw, your lips, they haven't been taught the choreography.
And that gap is costly in the real world. I mean, let's talk about the specific situations where this freeze is just so painful.
The job interview is the absolute classic. You've prepared all your answers, you know exactly what to say, but then they ask the question a slightly different way.
And the words are just gone. And that can cost you a job, a career.
Or what about an unexpected phone call at work? You need to react quickly, without a script, and suddenly you're just stammering, or you go quiet. You feel so foolish, even though you understood every single word they said.
Hmm. And it's not just high-stakes situations. It can be something as simple as ordering a coffee.
Exactly. Ordering food, speaking to a stranger, asking for directions. These small moments become huge sources of anxiety, and over time, that really impacts your ability to connect with people and just live your life confidently.
So if we had to strip it all down,
Mm.
what's the simplest way to restate this problem for someone who is feeling this right now?
The fundamental truth, really, if you boil it all down, is that English isn't just in your head. It's not just memory, it's physical. It's your lips, your tongue, your jaw, even your breath. The whole system has to be involved. And if you've only ever trained your brain, but you've ignored the physical muscles needed for English sounds, something will always feel like it's missing. The problem isn't a thinking problem, it's a movement problem.
Okay, this next idea is where it gets really interesting because it challenges almost everything we're taught about language learning. The sources argue pretty powerfully that fluency is a physical skill first, a muscular movement. It's more like learning to swim than learning history.
It's a complete paradigm shift, isn't it? We have to stop thinking about the abstract brain and start thinking about the concrete body. And if you look at the mechanics of speech, it makes perfect sense. Speaking uses this whole coordinated set of muscles. The jaw, the tongue, the lips. They all have to work together with your breath in a very specific
A
rhythm.
rhythm that's unique to English.
Yeah.
It's different from Spanish or Japanese or Russian.
Totally different. And that's where the problem starts. Your mouth has become, well, it's become very efficient, maybe even a little lazy, doing things the way your native language does them. It's been doing that since you were a child. It hasn't been trained for the specific movements English requires.
Let's get specific about those movements.
Mm.
What are some of those mechanical things that English demands from your mouth?
The classic one is the sound. Think or that. For so many people, that sound just doesn't exist in their native language.
Right.
So to make it, you have to physically place your tongue between your teeth, which feels totally bizarre at first. It's a new muscular action. Or think about the English R sound. It's much softer. It's made in the back of the mouth compared to, say, a Spanish rolled R.
And if the muscles aren't trained for that new movement, your mouth just does what it knows.
It defaults to the old program. And that's not wrong. It's just inefficient for English. That's why linking sounds can feel so awkward. Your mouth hasn't learned the shortcuts yet. It's not a brain failure. It's just physical unfamiliarity.
This is where that push-up analogy from the research is so helpful. It makes the difference between knowledge and movement crystal clear.
It really does. So imagine someone wants to learn how to do a perfect push-up, and they read 100 books about it.
They become a world expert on the theory of push-ups.
Exactly. They know the perfect angle for your elbows, which muscles to use, how to breathe. Their knowledge is, flawless. They could ace a written exam on it.
And then what happens when they actually get on the floor?
They get on the floor, they get into position, and they try to do one. And they just collapse because the knowledge in their brain is useless without the physical strength in their muscles.
And that is exactly what's happening with spoken English.
Yeah.
The grammar, the vocabulary, that's the book knowledge. But when you try to actually perform the sentence,
The speech collapses, your mouth stumbles, the flow breaks. It's not because you forgot the word, it's because the mouth muscles are too weak or too slow for that specific sequence of English movement.
it's like asking your body to perform a complex dance move it's never even tried before.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And that explains why speaking your native language feels so easy. Your mouth has been practicing that dance since you were a toddler. It's done those moves thousands and thousands of times. It's automatic.
Okay, but I still have a question. If I can understand a complex scientific article, my brain is clearly trained. So why can't I just command my mouth to move correctly? It feels like my brain should be able to do that.
That is such a great question because it gets right to the heart of it. Your conscious brain can command the movements, but that process is incredibly slow and it takes a ton of energy. Think of it like having to manually type out a command for every tiny muscle movement. Real fluency, real automatic speech. That happens when the thought goes directly to the muscle, skipping that whole slow conscious process.
So physical practice is what builds that super fast highway from thought to movement.
It's the only thing that does. Reading and watching helps your understanding, but only active physical repetition builds the actual skill. That's why you can know a sentence perfectly in your head, but not be able to say it smoothly.
So we need to start thinking of this as a memory problem and start seeing it as a movement problem.
You've got it. It's a physical training issue.
So let's talk about the solution here, the mechanism we're trying to build. And that is muscle memory, which is all about movement training, not information memory.
Right. Muscle memory is just your body remembering movements. When you repeat an action the right way over and over, your brain basically builds a shortcut, a motor pathway, and then the action becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it anymore.
And that's the real goal for fluency, thought-free speech.
Exactly. And we rely on this all day, every day. Think about tying your shoes. When you were a kid, you had to concentrate so hard. Loop, swoop, and pull. It took all your mental energy.
I remember that.
And now, you don't even think about it. Your hands just do it. Your body remembers.
Or typing on your phone. If I stop and actually think, okay, where's the letter P? I slow way down, but normally my thumbs just fly.
They just know where to go. It's an ingrained physical habit. Same with driving a familiar road. You can be listening to a deep dive, thinking about other things, and your body is handling the steering, the braking, the signaling.
It's all on autopilot.
Yeah.
Which frees up your brain to focus on the conversation.
Exactly. And that is what we want for your English. When muscle memory takes over the grammar, the sentence structure, the flow, your brain is finally free.
Free to focus on what you actually want to say.
Yeah.
The meaning, the emotion, the connection with the other person.
You're focused on the message, not the mechanics. And that also explains why beginners get so exhausted after speaking for just, say, 10 minutes.
Because everything is manual. There's no autopilot.
None. Their brain is trying to do everything at once. It's translating, remembering grammar, searching for words, and trying to tell the mouth how to make these unfamiliar shapes. It's just an incredible amount of work.
It's unsustainable.
It is. So we have to keep coming back to this one idea. Fluency happens when the mouth moves automatically. The goal is to train your mouth like a muscle, to see English as something you do, not just something you know.
Okay, so let's move from the why to the how. And this part is really encouraging because it's not about spending hours and hours. It's about a daily 5-minute routine.
The consistency is the magic ingredient here. It's not about how long you do it, but that you do it every single day. It's like brushing your teeth. It's a small habit that has a huge impact over time.
Just 5 focused physical minutes a day.
That's it. And if you do this consistently, the sources promise that your English will start to feel different. Not just sound different, but physically feel different in your mouth. You're building these tiny little habits that are literally rewiring your speech.
Okay, let's bring it down step by step. Step 1 is the mouth warm-up. This just for 1 minute. Why is this so important?
Well, just like an athlete needs to warm up their muscles before a race, your mouth needs to warm up before speaking English. If you've been speaking your native language all morning, your jaw, your lips, your tongue, they're all set to that language's rhythm.
You're in native language mode.
Exactly. The warm-up is about consciously shifting them into English mode. It's about releasing tension and waking up the specific muscles that English uses more.
And tension is the enemy of clear speech, right?
Yeah.
A tight jaw makes everything harder.
It's a huge barrier. We hold so much stress in our jaw, and that physically restricts how well our tongue can move. A tight jaw means a stiff tongue, which means mumbled, unclear speech.
Okay, so give us some specific exercises a listener can try right now.
Okay, first, let's loosen the jaw. Just gently and slowly open your mouth as wide as is comfortable, and then close it. Just feel that gentle stretch. Let's do that 5 times. Next, for your lips, do a lip roll. Make a buzzing sound like a little motorbike. Brr. Do that for about 5 seconds. Take a breath and do it again 2 more times. This really gets the blood flowing to the lips.
And the tongue. That seems like a really important one.
It's critical. So a simple tongue stretch. Slowly push your tongue straight out as far as it can comfortably go, and then pull it slowly back in. Repeat that about 10 times. And then finally, a big smile stretch. Stretch your lips into a huge, wide smile, like you're laughing. Hold it for 5 seconds, then relax.
And what's the immediate result of just that 1 minute?
You feel ready. Your mouth feels looser, warmer. The tension is gone. A warm, loose mouth is a confident mouth. It paves the way for much smoother, clearer sound.
Great. Step 2 is mirror speaking. Another minute. The research called this a secret weapon. Why is looking at yourself in a mirror so powerful?
Because the mirror is your own private coach. It gives you instant, non-judgmental feedback. It forces you to confront that fear of being watched, but in a totally safe space. It builds this incredible self-awareness about how you physically produce sound.
And the action is very simple. You just choose one sentence.
One simple, positive sentence. Stand in front of the mirror, look right into your own eyes, and say something like, "I'm speaking English with confidence." Or maybe, "This is my voice."
And you say it slowly 5 times.
Yeah.
What are you focusing on as you do that?
You're focusing on the physical movement. Watch your lips. Are they moving? Watch your jaw. Is it opening? Look at the expression on your face. You're training yourself to have a confident physical presence while you speak.
I can imagine that feeling really awkward at first. People might feel a bit silly.
Oh, it's totally awkward at first, and that's okay. That awkwardness is just a sign that you're breaking an old habit. The key is to shift your focus from how do I look to how does this feel? And honestly, after just 3 or 4 days, that feeling disappears and it starts to feel powerful.
Okay, now for step 3, which is 2 minutes. This is called shadowing practice. The sources say this is the real fluency training. Can you explain this one very slowly?
Absolutely. Shadowing is simple, but it is incredibly effective. All you do is listen to a very short piece of English audio, like 5 to 10 seconds is plenty. And you repeat what you hear out loud immediately. The key is you're trying to match the original speakers. Well, everything. Their speed, their rhythm, their tone of voice, even their emotion.
So it's not about getting every word perfect. It's about matching the music of the language.
Exactly. This is not a grammar exercise. It's a muscle exercise. It's about copying the flow. So if you hear someone say, I don't think that's a good idea, you don't stop and analyze it. You just try to repeat the whole phrase with the same up and down rhythm.
It sounds a bit like how kids learn to talk. They just mimic the sounds they hear around them.
That's precisely what it is. It's the closest thing an adult can get to that natural learning process. It trains your ear, your brain, and your mouth to all work together in real time. It builds those super fast connections we were talking about earlier.
It forces your mouth to move at a more natural speed.
It does. It helps you internalize the way sounds link together. For example, in a clip, you might hear, could you get it? But you realize the speaker is actually saying something that sounds more like, could you get it? Shadowing trains your mouth to make that faster, smoother movement automatically.
So after a few weeks of this, phrases just start to flow more naturally without you having to think about every single word.
That's the goal. You're building a library of physical movements for common English phrases.
Okay, so that 5-minute routine seems incredibly powerful if you do it consistently. And that leads us to the result of all this physical training, which is overcoming what the sources call the robot trap.
Ugh, yes, the robot trap. This is when someone can have perfect grammar, perfect vocabulary, but they still don't sound fluent because they're speaking word by word.
Right, with these little unnatural pauses between each word.
It happens because they're thinking of English as a string of individual words, but that's not how it's spoken. English is spoken in sound clusters.
Sound clusters.
Yeah, groups of words that are all said together in one smooth breath, linked by rhythm. Native speakers don't say single words. They say these little musical phrases.
So the goal is to stop thinking, what's the next word, and start thinking, how do I say this whole group of words?
Exactly. It's like playing music. You don't play one note, stop, then another note. You play a whole phrase. It's the pauses in the wrong places that really break the feeling of fluency.
Let's give a clear example.
Okay, a beginner might say, I want to learn English. 5 separate words.
Mm-hmm.
A fluent speaker links those words into a sound cluster. Want to becomes wanna. They say, I want to learn English. It's one smooth, connected unit.
And this happens all the time in questions, right?
All the time. What are you doing becomes what you doing. Did you eat becomes did you eat. It's not lazy speech. It's efficient speech. Your mouth has to learn to make those links quickly.
And this must be so liberating for learners because it means you don't have to be perfect. Rhythm is more important than perfection.
It's the most freeing idea.
Mhm.
Honestly, you can make a small grammar mistake, but if your rhythm and flow are good, people will still perceive you as a highly fluent speaker. They're listening to your music, not checking your grammar.
You don't need a perfect accent. You just need a comfortable flow.
That's it. You need rhythm and these smooth, connected sound clusters.
Okay, let's move to the final piece of the puzzle because all the physical training in the world won't help if your mind is working against you. Let's talk about emotion and fear.
Right. We go back to that analogy. Your brain is the pilot, your mouth is the airplane. If the pilot is panicking, the plane's not going to fly smoothly.
And we know that fear has a real physical effect on the body.
It absolutely does. When you feel fear or anxiety, your body releases adrenaline. And that causes your muscles to tighten, especially the muscles in your throat and your diaphragm, which you need for breathing and speaking. The research is so clear on this. Your mouth cannot fluently speak what your brain does not confidently believe.
And learners spend so much energy trying to be accurate, did I use the right word? But they forget about connection, the energy, the emotion.
Which is what people actually respond to. People remember your energy, not whether you use the right preposition. We have to train ourselves to feel the sentences we're saying, not just calculate them.
So how do you do that? How do you train for emotional fluency?
You have to intentionally practice with emotion. So instead of just repeating a sentence like, I'm happy to be here, in a flat voice, you have to actually try to feel happy when you say it. Smile. Let it show in your eyes. The sources have a great technique for this. They say you should practice like an actor, not like a student.
Acting, not studying. I like that.
Yeah. So take a simple sentence like, I'll be there in 5 minutes, and then practice saying it 3 different ways. Say it like you're excited. Say it like you're angry. Say it like you're nervous.
Ah, so you're focusing on the feeling, not the words.
Exactly. And when you're acting, your brain is so busy with the performance that it forgets to be afraid or to judge itself. And that state where feeling is driving the speech, not fear, that's what real fluency feels like.
And this connects back to the physical training. Using your body, your hands, standing up. It all builds that feeling of confidence.
It's all connected. Confidence isn't just a thought, it's a physical feeling. When you train your body to be confident while you speak, your brain follows. The physical practice makes it possible, and the emotional practice makes it powerful.
So as we bring this deep dive to a close, let's just really hammer home the core choice here. The difference between the passive learner and the person who actually becomes fluent.
You have the passive learner who might watch hours and hours of English videos, collect all the information, but they stay silent. Their confidence is trapped in their head.
And then you have the active speaker. The person who maybe only studies for 10 minutes, but then practices physically for 5 focused minutes every single day. One is collecting data, the other is building a skill.
And the sources are really direct about this. Watching videos is not practice. Saving information is not practice. If you don't speak daily, you risk getting stuck in what they call a lifetime of silence.
And that's a painful place to be.
It is. It's missing out on job opportunities, on friendships, on just being able to express who you are.
But the good news here is that the solution isn't some huge, overwhelming task.
Not at all. It's just 5 minutes a day. That's it. You have to trust in the power of that small, consistent, daily repetition. You don't need another video. You need another movement. Fluency is born from that simple decision, I'm going to train my mouth today.
It takes the pressure off getting it right and just puts the focus on the physical act of doing.
Yes. And with that, we hope this deep dive has given you a new way to think about this. To stop seeing English as this huge mountain to climb and start seeing it as a physical skill you can build, one small movement at a time.
We want to leave you with one final thought, something to really hold on to from everything we've talked about today.
You aren't here just to learn words. You are here to create a sound, a voice that moves, that flows, and that speaks with power.
English is not something to memorize. English is something to move. Go train your mouth and claim your voice.